either of you have any thoughts of, is this likely to happen? Is this more in the possibility realm? And how could that play out?
Bob, what do you think? Or Joe, even, what's your take?
I think that as an aspiration, I could see people continue to clamor for this. On the other hand, I think the realities of this are that, as people move forward with the ACA, it was a realization that you're going to take drug prices off the table to uncomplicate what the president's realized is a highly complicated, loaded topic. So I don't see it as being terribly likely.
I go back to action at the federal level is always really challenging. Action at the state level becomes much more possible.
Sure.
And so I think, watching the states is really important as we move forward in this debate, and frankly to see, how states like Vermont, who's requiring additional transparency of many manufacturers in the state, how this new legislation in New York pans out may influence kind of how things gain momentum or not at the federal level.
Yeah, but at the state level, won't that just apply to the Medicaid programs?
Well, in some
states
it is Medicaid only. In some states, it's the state employee plans. And it could be broader than that, really, depending on how legislators approach the issue.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that some of the issues here are that it's clear that the United States is paying a disproportionate amount of the world's pharmaceutical costs. Drugs cost much more in the United States than in the vast majority of parts of the world. And we could talk about whether that's appropriate or not. But with the absence of value-based pricing in many circumstances, not all circumstances, but many circumstances, and the disproportionate share that we're actually paying in the United States, something is going to have to give. And I suspect that the pharmaceutical industry is either going to take that upon themselves with time, or the government will probably be forced to take that upon themselves with time.
So you're suggesting a NATO-like approach where everybody pay their fair share for drug costs?
I think so,
but we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
But I think it's also, hopefully the costs globally or in the United States will come down rather than the costs in the rest of the world go up. But I think that there does need to be some sort of equity
and yet I'm not sure how that happens, because with each succeeding generation of drugs, the niche becomes smaller and smaller, especially with targeted therapies. Immunotherapy may break that trend, but for manufacturers who need to make a margin to satisfy their shareholders on a smaller and smaller population, I'm not sure how the costs go down unless there's an external factor.
If you're giving enough credit sort of to the PBM industry and some of the negotiation that has gone on there sort of for preferred tier placement and the like. So I think one of the big debates that we'll see transpire is, should the government be the one negotiating drug prices, or should the private sector, whether it's a PBM or some other kind of third-party entity, kind of work in that way? And certainly we've seen when competitors do come on the market, kind of the influence of those types of entities have led to lower costs.
You may be right, but a drug that used to cost $10,000 a year that now costs $30,000 and I get a 5% price break isn't a deal. I just think about the advent of biosimilars, and pick any biosimilar. If you get a 15% price break, it's going to take you back to 2015 prices. It's not going to take you back to the cost of the drug when it came out on the market. So I think that's the real challenge for us. We can negotiate around the edges, but it doesn't change the basic economic structure that's really breaking the bank.
So what do you talk more about the biosimilar issue? How much do you expect to see downward pressure in prices, that where the innovator product goes down to what the biosimilar is, and there's a spiral downward?
If we go outside the cancer field, because there are not no therapeutic biosimilars yet, maybe rituximab will be the first one. But if you look at Inflectra, which is a biosimilar for Remicade, the manufacturer said, we'll meet that price for the biosimilar, and so the biosimilar has been kept not off the market, but it hasn't gotten a significant market share. When another biosimilar comes on the market, maybe the prices will drop further, but nevertheless, the price break, the 10 to 15% price break for the biosimilar of Remicade didn't take us back too far to 2015 or late 2014. So that's the challenge.
When it comes to the government negotiating drug prices, once again, it's a topic that's top of mind for a lot of people who simply say, absolutely terrific, they should be able to negotiate drug prices. Well, the government already does negotiate drug prices in the Medicaid program and negotiates prices in the Veterans Administration program as well. I feel I'm compelled to say the American Cancer Society has not taken a position on that particular issue. From a personal perspective, I'm certainly aware of that discussion, and given the pricing of drugs, I suspect it will move in that direction in terms of negotiated prices. However, some drugs really do occupy a very unique space. So there's no, I mean, I don't know what the negotiation is, say don't use the drug. In some countries, for example, if you go to Europe, some of the European countries have basically a social contract. That is, people in those countries understand, and everybody gets the message that the government will make a decision if they're going to use the drug based on cost benefit. Are we going to go that route? I think that would be, in the present climate, very difficult to do. When we've seen the whole discussion about death panels and about not paying for medication, we in this country prize our access to medications. So if the government walked in and said, you can't have that drug because it's too expensive or the quality adjusted life years are insufficient, someone would turn around and say, you're rationing my care. And that's a discussion I don't think this country is, well, that's a discussion we're having. I don't think it's a place where people are ready to say, yep, okay, government take over making those decisions. So as we go forward, a lot of issues, there was, by the way, a proposal from Medicare. Nobody paid much attention to it, called value-based pricing, or not quite value-based pricing, but indication-based pricing. That is, a drug may be successful, one drug in particular I can think of, a drug may be successful in treating lung cancer for some people, not as successful in pancreatic cancer. The government had a proposal where they were going to consider paying more for the lung cancer indication than they were for the other. That proposal, however, along with some other related issues about payment, was pulled by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, so it's no longer on the table today. But they did say that they were interested in moving in that direction.